Welcome to Actual Scale Modelling. This is part 3 of the Enterprise B build from ANT. In this part I'm going to be dealing with the water nacelles, from building them to putting in the lights and attaching them to the hull. If you get the chance, why don't you check out the other parts in this stream of videos for the Enterprise, or indeed any of my other builds. But for now, let's jump into it. So to begin with, I have to treat the clear parts with pledged clear before I can begin painting them. This is just to make the paint stick a little bit better to the part. It's because I'll be using the aqua clear paints on this, hence why I'm putting the varnish down first. So for the water nacelles, I've put down a coat of Revel Aqua 731, and that's red clear. For the deflector dish, the centre part, I'm putting in a dot of Revel Aqua Colour 05 white. This little dot gives it a hot spot effect. You don't want it to be entirely blue, it sort of looks flat and false that way. And for the main part of the nacelle is Revel Aqua Colour Clear Blue 752. There will be another colour going on here afterwards, but initially I'm just putting on the thin coats and building up the colour on the nacelle. Back to the deflector dish. Now the couple of layers of clear blue have gone on, and it's the same with the deflector dish, just painting in the clear blue. I'll be painting over the white spot, that's alright. You don't have to paint around it. In fact, you want it to go over slightly anyway. Now for the sides of the nacelles, it's a sort of grey colour, so I'm putting in Tamiya's XF56 metallic grey, and if you look on the photos on the other side, it's a sort of darkish grey colour, so it's not all blue. Now it's time to put on the water nacelle bottom. The little bracket slit I'm pointing out there, that goes onto the nacelle strut. Check before you're ready to join these parts up. I had to open it up slightly for it to fit my wires, so just make sure you've got it all nice and snug before you attempt to glue it on. And once I was happy with that, it's time to paint the inside. Now I'm painting it in Revel Aqua Colour 90 silver, and this is just so that I've got a reflective area for the light. When attaching the bottom part of these nacelles, a little tip I use, as you can see there, I'm using the Revel Contrast Cement, but I also put in a little dot of super glue and a couple of little points. This just makes it stay in position while the Revel glue is melting and moulding the plastic. It just makes it a lot more stabler trying to get them on, so there's not much movement. And clamp it up, and it's the same again on the other side. Just make sure you got your fit perfect, there's not too much movement, and then just clamp up both sides. I'll be using a combination of LED strip lights and LED diodes as well. So again, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just saying how much I need to put in. Now these blue strip lights come with a plastic sheath on top, because it was designed to go outside. I bought the wrong ones basically. So if you do have a strip like that, it's not great drama, it's only a soft gel, so just cut where the contact points are for your solder and just cut them off. You know, once you make a little incision, and it just peels back. So once you've cut off and then you've revealed the two brass points that you're going to be soldering, wise just to give a little light test to make sure that they're working. You never know, because you have dragged your knife over it, so just make sure that you haven't broke the circuit. So this is what I'm doing here, and as you can see, they're working fine. So I've taken the strip lights, soldered on positive and neutral wires on each side, as you can see, and also I've soldered on the LED diode on the other side. Exact same way that I did the saucer section, and it's just time to put it in. So I'm using a little bit of super glue here just to hold them in, even though the it has an adhesive strip on these. Sometimes I feel it's better to put a little bit of glue down just to get them in position from the off. So that's them in. It's time to do a light test to make sure everything's working. You can see the two LED dials at the bottom there, and then also the strip light. And once you're happy with that, it's time to join it up to the main hull. So I'm just taking two pieces of a wire and soldering them together. And again, you don't need a lot of solder on this. And once it's done, I would recommend putting a little bit of tape around it. You can put a protective sheath on them, but I find it's too bulky for such a small space. So a little bit of masking tape does the job just as well. And do a light test to make sure it's alright. And then what I'm doing here is putting a little bit of super glue down onto the actual contact points where the wire comes in with the strip light. Now generally I would use hot glue for this. Because it's small space, a bit super glue covered in the coating works absolutely fine. And there's the exact same process on the other side of the nacelle. And once it's all in, do another light test to make sure both nacelles are working correctly. Next up, to assemble the clear parts of the nacelle. So just a couple of spots of glue on either side initially to get these together. I found it better joining them like this before I put them onto the base of the nacelle. And once that's dry, just put a bead of cement around the nacelle, ready for the clear parts to go in. Then just place the clear parts all around the lip of the nacelle housing. It just fits in. You may have to move it around slightly to get it in, but once you get into position, just add a couple of light clamps to hold it. So as you can see, it doesn't take much to hold it in position. But do the same again with the opposite side. Now for the top part of the nacelles, a little bit of modification needed here. The little holes for the rear fins didn't quite fit for the part, so I just had to drill them out a little bit before putting them in. And that's them going on now, and they just pop in without too much fuss. And once you've got that connected, just lay it on top of the nacelle. As you can see there, it just dropped on easily. For the front part of the nacelle housing at the top, there's two halves that you have to fill in, put together. Now, I didn't realise at the time when I done this, there's a bit of plastic to be removed here if you're lighting up the nacelle. It's better to remove it before you join them together. As you can see, I started joining them together. Luckily, I was able to prise them apart before I realised what I was doing. So, as I prised them apart, there was two little bands of plastic that formed the front of the housing to conform with the other curve. Now, in the instructions, they tell you just to paint them, but obviously I'm lighting them up. So it was just a case of getting my hobby knife, dragging the blade around the contours. Then once that was off, I just took a sanding stick and a file and took the excess off until the parts were clear, removed. So as you can see there, that's the first one done. It was no trouble. For going the top part, I'm using canopy glue here, so it's formed by 5/6 canopy glue. And the reason for that is when I was putting the top parts on, there was a slight bow to the plastic. So I thought, if I use the canopy glue, that'll fill up the gaps because it dries completely clear. And once it was glued up, just putting in the top part of the nacelle now. You see the bead of glue around there. That'll form a clear bond and then can be painted once it's dried. And then once it was dry, it's time to put on the front housing. So a little part goes on first. Just make sure you get the measurement right there into the right position. Took me a little while to work it out, but I got there. So I'm just using normal cement for this, and then it's for the main house, and then that just slips on. You don't need much cement to hold us in position. The fit was really good. So you can see where the blue's coming out now, where my finger is. That's the part that I cut. Well, this brings this part to a close. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm just going to put on the other one and then call it a day for this part. So for now, bye bye.